Frame and reframe from the book of Galatians, a simple way of understanding God's word by looking at similitude, words that are equal in meaning. So, in today's study, we have the words justification, righteousness, perfection, and promise in the book of Galatians. So let's read a few verses. In Galatians chapter 2 and verse 16, the Apostle Paul writes, "Yet knowing that a man is not justified by works of law, but through faith in Jesus Christ." Subject is justification, being acquitted or forgiven of sins. And then in verse 21, he continues the discussion saying, "I do not make void the grace of God, for if righteousness is through the law, then Christ died for naught." So again, we have the word righteousness connected to justification, acquittal of sins, and you can throw in grace in there as well. Then we move to chapter 3 and verse 3 of the book of Galatians. He says, "Are you so foolish? Having begun in the Spirit, are you now perfected in the flesh?" Continuing the context, we see the connection between being perfected, or perfection, righteousness, grace, and justification. Well, what is the promise of God? The Apostle Paul in Acts chapter 13, let's see, starting at verse 22, going through verse 37, he reveals that the promise of God is the forgiveness of sins. So when we see all of these words put together, we have a greater understanding of what it means to be justified, a greater understanding of what it means to be righteous, a greater understanding what it means to be perfected or complete, and a better understanding of what God's promises and grace is all about. Frame and reframe.